Hi, I'm Jim from Crosman. We're here today to talk about the mounting and adjustment of the sights on the M4-177 pump rifle. Inside the box, of course, the M4-177, the owner's manual, which is important to read and understand the operation of the gun, as well as all the safety considerations. There'll be a quick start guide, which applies to what we're going to talk about today, the mounting and adjustment of the sights. The sights themselves are found in this storage area of the box. We have the rear sight and the front sight, and with the front sight is the adjustment key for both sights. Now, some early models of this gun had the key in the magazine, which is a good storage spot for it. So that may be a place where you'll find it if it's not with the front sight. We'll mount the front sight first. This is the front sight. You can see what will interface with the rail here, these grooves, and this will tighten it down. The angled part goes towards you. You want to slide it onto the rail, get it about halfway and on the length of the rail. Tighten it down lightly by hand, making sure it's still seated square, and this one is. So then we'll tighten it up by hand, and we're done. Front sight is mounted. This is the rear sight. We'll mount it next. You can see it has two different apertures here. You have a smaller and a larger. We'll talk about that when we adjust the sights. So at this point, you can have these set any way you want. Now we're going to mount this on the rear rail with the tightening screw to the left. And you want to mount the rear sight as far back from the front sight as possible for best performance. And again, as with the front sight, slide it onto the rail, make sure it's sitting square, get it finger tight, and finish tightening by hand, and there's the rear sight mounted. Now that we've got the sights mounted, we'll take our first shots and see where we are on the target and see what adjustments we need to make. I'm going to use the 177 caliber pellets, as these are more accurate than a BB, and will pattern much more consistently than BBs. So these are what you want to use for target and specifically for sighting in the gun. Our target is approximately 30 feet away. That's the recommended distance to sight in this gun with these sights. Looks good through there. Happy with where the target is. 5 pumps. And our first shot looks pretty good on the paper. We're going to go ahead and do 5, see what kind of pattern we get. That will help us decide which way we want to adjust the sights. And there we have our first 5. We'll go take a look and see where we're at. Here's our first group out of the box. It's a pretty good group. You can see I'm a little bit low here. So what we'll do is we'll adjust that front sight for the elevation to bring this group up towards the center of the target. Okay, so now we know where we're patterning. Let's adjust that elevation on that front sight. Now if you go to your quick start guide, you'll see to lower your group, you want to raise the sight. Our case, we want to raise our group, which means we lower the front sight. To lower that front sight, you use the tool, the hex end of the tool, and I'm going to go clockwise, and let's go a quarter turn and see what that puts us. I'm going to make a note of that so I know where we're at. And we'll shoot 5 more. And 5. Let's go see where we're at. Wow, that's pretty good. You can see we've moved that group up just where we wanted it. Almost right in the center. One little flyer down there, but we're looking good. I think we'll leave that elevation where it is. When we get back to the bench, we'll talk about windage, making adjustments left or right. So at the target, we were really good on both elevation and windage. But let's talk about windage adjustments if you need to make those. On your rear sight, it's marked right or left. What that does, moving right or left on the sight, will move that group right or left. So let's say, for instance, we were on the left side of the bullseye and we wanted to move that whole group to the right. We would use the key, the opposite end of the front sight key, a little blade, like a screwdriver blade, and turn that. Again, I recommend like a quarter turn at a time to get you where you need to be, either left or right, depending on where you want to move that group. In closing, please remember to follow all safety rules, including having a good solid backstop. And if you have any questions, please contact Crosman Customer Service. Thank you.